were according to the Bible, or what your nationality is? Because you're Mexican, right? You're not going to find that in the Bible. Just let me deal with it. Deal with me 5 minutes. All right, so according to the Bible, you're not going to find Mexican, you're not going to find Hispanic, you're not going to find Latino. Because Hispanic means property of Spain. Is that what you are? Hispanic means property of Spain. Is that what you consider yourself? No, prior to La Conquista, you heard of that, right? La Conquista, when Christopher Columbus came to our side of the world and they raped and pillaged and took our lands and murdered our people. You heard of that, right, in history? That was prophesied in the Bible. Did you know that? All right, that's what we're teaching our people, because that's your history. That's my history. That's the black man history. But the churches today, they keep that in the dark. And it's time for us to return to our heritage. It's time for us to keep the laws. Right. Because these denominations, they teach us that God did away with the laws. It doesn't make sense. It's anarchy. It's anarchy. To not keep God's commandments is to be a rebellious people. Now let me prove to you that you are the people of the Bible. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15. It's very important for us to return.
Read. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So Moses spoke with these 12 tribes, from Judah to Issachar. The tribe of Judah being the so-called black man, and Issachar being the so-called Aztec or Mexican man today in America. That's the people that Moses spoke to. Nobody else. The churches teach us that we have to hold hand in hand with the same people that stole our heritage, with the same people that stole our culture, with the same people that enslaved us and sold us in auction blocks. That doesn't make any sense. Because that didn't happen to anybody in the book. It just happened to the Mexicans and so-called blacks. Read.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
Some of the commandments.
All his commandments.
So God commanded us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, that we're to keep everything in his Bible. But the churches are not teaching that.
Read. And his statutes, which I command thee this day.
So when God commands, he's not giving us an option, sis. When God commands, he's giving you a commandment. You're supposed to do it, right? When you were a child, right? You're her mom, his mom. When they misbehave, when you give them an order, you punish them, right? Yeah. Right. It's the same thing that happened with the Israelites, sis.
Right.
We went off. We decided, you know what? We're going to turn our backs and we're going to start worshiping calves. We're going to go off into idolatry. I'm going to start sleeping with my brother and sister. That's what we did. That's the same thing we're doing here today.
Right.
All right? So God says, keep my commandments, because that's what's going to keep you safe from falling off. Right? Read.
That all these curses.
What?
That all these curses.
I'm going to ask you a question. Is a curse a good or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. To be cursed is not good at all. So God said, keep my commandments, you're going to be blessed. But if you don't keep them, you're going to be cursed. So how do we identify the blacks and Hispanics here in America today? It's by the curses. I'm going to read you one. Give me 48.
38. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemy.
So God says that here in America, we would serve our enemies. So, did anybody in the church ever tell you, sis, that the Hispanic man had enemies? No. The church teaches, come as you are, right? Hold hand in hand, love thy brother, turn a cheek. But that only deals with us. That deals with the blacks and the Hispanics. Watch, read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies.
So God says that we're going to serve our enemies. In whatever lands across the world that we're in, we would serve our enemies. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee. Who? The Lord shall send against thee.
So in 1492, when Christopher Columbus came, it was God that sent him against us. He sent the Spaniards against us because we failed to keep his commandments. You follow? Read.
The Lord shall send against thee in hunger.
So in hunger, God says that in order for you to eat, in order for you to feed your family, do you have a job? All right, in order for you to feed your family and to provide for your family, you have to work. Who owns the company that you work for? What do you work for? What is it? Assistant clerk? Where?
Old Town.
Old Town. So who's the owner of the business?
Bring it out!
It's a white man? Right. It's a white man, right? So you have to serve to feed your families. God said that here in America, in order for you to feed your family, you're going to serve your enemies. Because we don't own none of these businesses. Papa John's, we don't own it. The liquor store is owned by an Arab man.
Bring it out!
The 7-Eleven is ran by Hindus. We don't own the Walmarts. None of these taco shops, sure, we have a handful of prosperous businesses, but guess what? They get taxed. So here in America, we serve enemies. We
In hunger and in thirst.
So whenever you get thirsty, you have to serve for water, right? The water falls freely from the sky. Prior to 1492, we didn't have to pay for water. We didn't have to pay for food because this was our land.
Right.
But they came and they took it from you.
Bring it out.
We.
And in nakedness.
In nakedness. So in order for you to dress, you have to serve your enemies so that you and your children can have clothing on their bodies. God said that we would have to serve our enemies in want of clothing. Read.
And in the want of all things.
The one of all things goes into education. It goes into religion. Are you married? You're not married. But in order for you to get married, guess what? You have to go to the court, right? And you have to pay for permission to be married. That shouldn't be the case.
Right.
Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So a yoke of iron says, if you look over here, you see these things that they got on their necks? All these, those are yokes of iron. That only happened to the Hispanic man, to the native blacks, and to the black man.
That's right.
It didn't happen to any other nationality on the earth. So that proves that the Hispanics history book is the Bible.
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you, sis? Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
So how are we destroyed today in America? Now we think we're Mexican Americans. Now we think we're Hispanics. Now we think we're Latinos. We don't have the yokes anymore. We don't got the chains anymore because we're destroyed mentally. So those that conquered us, they destroyed us. Because you're talking about centuries of conditioning and conditioning and conditioning that we don't even know who the hell we are anymore.
Right.
According to the Bible, you're an Israelite of the tribe of Issachar.
Right.
But through centuries of conditioning and being destroyed in slavery and being sold off, because they sold us off to Spain in auction blocks as prostitutes. They sold us off as slave men. That's what we're the original stock exchange. That's what we are. We're destroyed. And it was prophesied in the Bible. Read.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So from the eastern part of the hemisphere, which is Spain, right, to the western side of the hemisphere, which is America today, this side of the world. Read.
From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
Can you give me the sign right here with the eagles? So God doesn't only tell you who you are according to the Bible, he also gives you clues. Read that part again.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
So let me ask you a question, sis. What is America's emblem today? What animal do you find on the back of your dollar or your quarter?
Bring it out.
The eagle. Right? Read that part again.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
So God said that the people that would come against you would be represented by the bald eagle. Right? So if you look at these coins, this is the Greek captivity. It was represented by the eagle. The Roman captivity, it was represented by the eagle. Spain, when they came through, they had the eagle. And America today, their national symbol is the eagle. So the one thing that they all have in common is that it's the white man.
Right.
The Greeks, the Romans, the Spaniards, the Americans today, it's the same man. It's the devil that the Bible speaks of. So God said that the white man was going to come against you, take your lands, rape and pillage you, and then you would have to serve him in one of all things. That's what God is saying. That's not what the church is going to teach you. Because the church continues to destroy us over and over. Read.
And swift as the eagle flyeth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So before the Spaniards came, we were not speaking Spanish. We were speaking Nahuatl, which is a derivative of Hebrew. That's who we are. Right, did you get a flyer? All right, says check us out. Read.
A nation of fierce countenance.
A nation of fierce countenance. To be sailing in the ocean for years and to what's the word that I'm looking for? To have so much hatred towards a nation of people makes a fierce countenance. Fierce countenance means that as soon as they came off that ship, they started raping, they started pillaging, they took your babies from outside your womb and smashed them against the rocks. God said that that would happen if we didn't keep his commandments. Give me 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So how do we know that the Bible is a true book? Because the prophecies came to life.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.